open on the table. "I have looked into it, you know that, and I've concluded this physics, like the physics of the blade, is beyond us, that our minds are not designed to comprehend such things." Urban sipped his tea, savoring an awareness of the silver within him. His connection to the silver of Lotus and the vast living memory it contained had faded to nothing as Dragon departed that system, 64 years ago now. Yet some portion of silver remained tangled in his mind, tempting him, always, to immerse himself within its trove of memory, a personal memory of all he'd done and discovered since the silver had augmented his senses.
"Our minds are adaptable, Vitet."
"Yours more than mine." She said this because she'd rejected a permanent entanglement with the silver. She'd lived with it during the years they'd spent at Lotus, but in the end she'd discarded her planetary avatar, explaining, "I'm losing myself in obsession, endlessly chasing the chains of memory the silver contains." Vitet had not been alone in that decision. Among those who had continued the voyage, all but Urban had made the same choice. Still, for all her life, Vitet had trained her mind to see the world in new ways, and in her mind, her brilliant, adaptive mind, she walked paths that Urban had never been able to follow, either as himself or as one of his highly specialized apparatchiks. He needed Vitet to reconsider the puzzle of the needle. Setting his cup down with a soft tap, he said,
"There must be another way to approach the problem, one we haven't considered yet. Lezuri created that needle here, aboard Dragon. If he can do it, we can do it. And if you crack this puzzle, my guess is we'll be one step closer to cracking the physics of the blade."
This last argument did not win her interest as he'd hoped. Instead, she drew back, lips pursed in wariness, eyes narrowed, and her youthful brow drawn down in a worried scowl. "Why would you want to bring that knowledge back into the world, Urban? A knowledge like that, it would let you tear apart worlds." He did not allow his gaze to waver. Nothing of fear could be heard in his tone as he asked her in a gentle voice,
"We need to know, don't we? We're bound for Tanjiri. An entity exists there. Lezuri believed it anyway, and the evidence suggests he's right."
Tanjiri had been a cordoned star of the hallowed vasties, cloaked in a swarm of orbiting objects so abundant they'd hidden the star's light. But the cordons had disintegrated all across the hallowed vasties. At Tanjiri, as everywhere, starlight shone through. Nearly 2 millennia had passed since then, and much of Tanjiri's cordon was simply gone. The apparatchik known as the astronomer had mapped a wide, chaotic belt of scattered debris shepherded by rare, broken megastructures. Those remnant ruins constituted only a small fraction of the former cordon. Urban interpreted the missing mass as evidence of brutal warfare. And yet somehow, a living world had survived through it all, through the creation of the cordon and its cataclysmic collapse. Designated Tanjiri-2 in the Master Star Catalog, the planet continued to orbit as it always had, within the star's habitable zone. But in the millennia since the Star Catalog had been compiled, Tanjiri-2 had acquired a large moon, Tanjiri-2b, miraculously blue-green and alive like its partner and rotating independently. If it had been a natural moon, formed in the planet's distant past, it would have long since become tidally locked, with one face always turned toward its primary. But Tanjiri-2b enjoyed its own complex cycle of day, night, and a twilight bathed in the varying blue-green glow of the planet. Something had created that moon. Thinking about it, a shiver prickled Urban's skin. Did Vitet see it? Maybe so. Her scowl deepened. She eyed him with a mistrustful gaze. "Are you saying you've changed your mind?" she asked. "That you won't go to Tanjiri unless you possess this knowledge?"
"That's not what I'm saying."
Even so, Lezuri's remembered warning haunted him.
"You are not ready to encounter what exists there."
Did that remain true, despite all he'd learned at Lotus? He did not speak of such doubts aloud. Instead, he assured Vitet,
"We are going, but I want your help with this."